Welcome back to Hunter's Entertainment. My name is Knoxweiler Burf, and I will be your game master tonight in Outbreak Undead, Rag and Bone. If you've not yet joined us, welcome. You're a little late. The world has already ended. In 1995, a horrid plague worked its way through all of civilization, and in the ensuing chaos, civilization tumbled and fell. It was not a quick death. It was not a pretty death. It was a fight, tooth and nail. Militaries were activated, and all of the world found itself in its dying breath at its own throat, choking the remaining life out of friend and neighbor. Thankfully, there was some small spark that survived beyond those days. And while the world has not improved and the virus is still quite real, there are precious few who still fight to keep the human race thriving here in the world that we once knew. There are places here that you will find familiar, but you will be greeted by diversions in time. The year is 2020, and each of our survivors has seen a great deal. The players that we have gathered have come here with an understanding of what it is we are doing, of the story that we are telling together, of the dangers that are held within, and what might happen if they are not careful. We have spoken very clearly about what our boundaries are, about the content that they may come across, and about how we can tell a true story of survival horror and do so in a safe environment, one that respects each of us. But we are not here to be quiet. We are not here to whisper this tale. We wish to explore the darkest parts of humanity. And so we ask you as well, while you are viewing this, to be cautious and to be aware that there are situations held within that may challenge you. We do not wish to harm you, but we do wish for you to walk alongside us as we make our way down a very long road, one that may show the glimmer of hope that is held within humanity's dying light. We are thankful for your time. Tonight, we have a few very special ways that you can interact with us and our offering. First and foremost, you can join the Enders line. We are partnered with Foreteller and have created a scry application that you can use directly below in the panels. It will allow you to form allegiances and to search for crucial resources that can be used to better the world around the characters that you will meet tonight. It is not an easy thing, not a simple thing. What you provide may very well be the difference between life and death. As time goes on, you will find that these offerings change, that they begin to evolve, that we're not simply just asking you to gather resources. Perhaps we will start to ask you for more, to start to defend areas, to perhaps make choices as to which survival camps are given the necessities and the protection that they need. you will shape the world with us. All you need to do is to log in below, and you will have some time to do that. If you have any questions, Alex Holman is with us tonight in the chat and is happy to help you. All of our moderators here at Hunters Entertainment are equally eager to see you ushered into the apocalypse. We are glad you are here. Finally, tonight, due to the nature of the season, we wish to offer you a treat before we bring out our tricks. If you follow the links that the moderators will place within the chat, you will be able to follow some very simple instructions to retweet and to share some of our content. In doing so, you will enroll yourself for a drawing that will occur at the end of tonight's session. If you are the lucky winner of that giveaway, you will receive a complete Outbreak Undead digital pack. We hope that you enjoy it, and we hope that you put it to good use. Also, I wish to take this moment to thank JB Jara for his technical direction. Much of what you see here on the Hunters Entertainment Twitch channel is due to his hard work, and we couldn't proceed without his guidance. Now then, before we begin our story, I would like to give each of the players an opportunity to tell you about themselves and about the characters that they will be portraying tonight. May, would you like to go first and tell everyone who you are, what projects you're working on, and what character you will be playing tonight?
Hi there, I'm Melee Damage. I am a musician, actor, and all around role player and DM. You can catch me on another show tomorrow night called Denver by Night that I'm the game master of. And be sure to check out my new single called Mothership, available pretty much anywhere you can find music.
Thank you. Markia, you are a familiar face here at Hunters Entertainment, but we would be remiss if we did not give you equal time to tell everyone what it is that you're doing. I know that this season offers you many challenges.
Yes, there are a number of things that are happening this week if you want to join me with that. For those that don't know, I do the Something Scary podcast, which is very horror based. We have animated horror episodes that go up on Tuesday, and we actually have something very special planned for this Saturday for all of our followers. If you want to check us out on youtube.com/snarled. And let's say your Saturday is already busy. Well, tomorrow I'm having a Halloween at home live stream at 3 p.m. PT. And on Thursday, you can see me in Binge Battle, Rotten Tomatoes versus Fandango. And yes, the topic is horror movies. I recommend you join in on that, and that'd be 1 p.m. PT.
Excellent. Luis, welcome back. Would you like to tell everyone where they can find you and who you'll be playing tonight?
Yeah, I'm playing Lampwick, and this might be the last time you guys see me because I keep getting really close to death. Just kidding. Her.
I know.
But or not. Um, let's see. I have a short film right now that's making some rounds. It was an Outfest about a month or so ago, and it's right now playing in the Seattle Film Festival. I think it's still there. It's called Of Hearts and Castles, and either way, it's still once it's finished there, I'm going to get into another one, and once we can announce it, I'll share it on social media. I'm pretty happy with the work that we've done with that. Last season, this is the first time it's occurred to me. Last season, I was in the season finale of SWAT, and on NCIS and you guys can actually watch those. Like I've mentioned those before, but now it's the first time I'm realizing you guys can actually like go and watch them. My NCIS episode is called Provenance. And my SWAT episode that aired a couple months ago is called Diablo, named after the character I play. And I'm here Tuesday nights until I die.
I certainly hope that you've learned something from your time on those shows about perhaps how to defend yourself against the evils of the world. Michelle, welcome. Tell people a little about who you're playing and where we can find you in the real world.
I think I'll start with my character. My character is named Juniper Song. She's the weird wild child of the group. I'm like actually in my like early 20s, but it's just that I grew up after the apocalypse happened, so I don't really know about earthly the material things. And I'm kind of a wild card. I run away a lot. More on that later. I am Michelle Bradley, me in real life. I am in a lot of things. I mean, this show on Tuesdays, and last week I was in a show for Hunters Entertainment during Roll20, or that was Sunday. That was really fun. If you guys are subscribed, you can check the VOD. It was for Alice is Missing, and it was amazing. And it like I'm like still thinking about it. I cried a lot, but it was such a moving game, and it was an incredible experience. So if you guys have time, I'd really recommend checking that out on the VODs. On Thursdays, you can find me at the Dragons and Things Network, twitch.tv/the Dat Network. I play a wizard who is a hunter, but is also very just straightforward and funny. And then on Saturday, I'm doing a charity with Geek Bomb. It's Maud Gretz and Abby, what's her last name? Anyway, it's for charity. We're benefiting the Center for Reproductive Rights by raising money during this Twitch stream. And it's from 3 to 8 on Saturday. And that will be on my Twitter. So that's a lot. It's all on my Twitter.
I'm glad to hear that you're also busy, and it does sound like there are some very worthy pieces of content out there to follow all of these players on. So be sure that you spend the time necessary to track them down and follow them. Finally, speaking of following, we have reached our goal for this week. So the players will be receiving an additional competency point. And as that number has been slowly reducing, as their dangers within this world have increased, they will have 4 competency points for this game each. They would have 3, but due to your ability to meet these goals, we are able to give them some minor amount of assistance. This week, it will take 15 subs and 100 follows for them to be given another competency point. I'm very excited for us to begin. There's a great deal for us to talk about. There are shadows that have to be revealed, and these characters have slowly begun to show us who they really are. One of these players is not what they seem. One of them is working against the others. Someone here is a danger to everyone else. And while I am aware, you in the audience will have to make your best guess as to who that individual is and to what their motivation might be. And for the players, none of you are good people, but the questions of good and evil start to disappear when the world falls apart and everything that is laid before you is ash and ruin. How can anyone survive all of this in these dark days and still be a good person? But one of you is far, far more insidious than the others. We will be back in just a moment.
Well, here we are again, old friends and new. The end of days just keep on rolling by. And all those naysayers who thought that by this point we'd be fucking full tilt toes up, been proven wrong for a little while longer. The days keep on turning into weeks, turning into months, and turning into years, sure enough. Now, with that time we've been buying for ourselves, one thing sticks like the smell of pig shit. People need things. And that's where we come in, my fellow vagabonds. Y'all are the ones that get goods from point A to point B. And we can't thank y'all enough for walking those lines and doing all the good things that only the rag and bone folk can do. Now here's the situation. Old Wally Wagstaff, he was wandering down the lines, and he found some things that there's a couple points of concern that we need to be thinking about here. The first big thing is Safe House 113 has been burnt to the foundation. Now, I'm not going to go into all the particulars, but needless to say, it looks like there was some kind of throwdown, and from what I can tell, someone's lost a few screws because they're mutilating the dead, both the Romeros and our people. Now, all that said, right now, we need to figure out getting some construction materials. We need to get this place back up and running. 113 is a vital asset on these lines. First and foremost, I gotta be upfront with y'all. I've got some bad news. The medical supplies that we need for the folks in breadbasket still ain't made it. I'm guessing it has something to do with this whole situation. Now, if we can get 113 back up and running, I can post some of our best there and we can start scouring the area for both survivors and for wherever those medical supplies ended up. They couldn't have gotten far. We actually had a crew in the area that we had sent out to a nearby community, and we think that some of them may still be on task. Now, if they are and they hear this, know that we Enders, we have you covered. You know we're good for it. So if we can get 113 back up and running, there is a real chance that we can still make a difference here. I'm going to need y'all to bust butt and try to get us those construction materials that we need to get this up and running. And while you're out there in the wilds, make sure you're watching your ass. Again, you are so vital to everything going on right now. Now, take this tape, stick it back in the lockbox, and leave it for the next wanderer that happens by. The next message from the Bootleg Express is going to be in place before the first frost falls, so keep your eyes out. 10-4 out.
Your journey here has been long. It has been dangerous. It has been very difficult. Of all of the mercantile items that you were able to salvage from Station 113, barely a quarter of them have made it here to the farmhouse. And now that you are on the other side of the gates, you are greeted by a number of hunting rifles, a shotgun, bats, pitchforks, machetes, and other weaponry. The inhabitants of this community have greeted you in a semicircle, standing around all four of you and your two new companions. Lampwick, you are covered from head to toe in thick, dark mud. You have lost everything other than the spear that you carried and the packs that were pushed into your arms as you barely made your escape from the field. The gates have been closed, and a very large steel bar has been slid into place, securing this wall, strong and tall, made from old logs that had been halved. The wood is grayed and aged from the sun here. You are somewhere in what was once known as Pennsylvania, and you are part of a group known as rag and bone merchants. Your job, your livelihood, your whole existence, now, in the end of days, centers around gathering the resources that others need and seeing that they are properly transported to the communities that are scattered across these lands. Within your group, 3 of you are old enough to remember the time before the fall. You had lives that now seem like distant, flickering candle flames on a dark night. Every day that passes, it seems that they get further and further away from you, as this new reality, this new world, tests you over and over again. One of you is a child of these times. You do not remember anything other than this brutal, harsh existence. Your life has always been what others call the apocalypse. People, when they do meet each other, are hardened. They are careful. They are frightened. Very rarely do you find immediate kindness. And the greeting that is in front of you now is not entirely unexpected. You might be greeting others the same. Were you part of this community? If you were on the other line of this situation, you might hold the rifle or the pitchfork, and you might press them against those who enter into your community and your home, potentially bringing danger and hatred, ugliness. For the world is full of so much of that ugliness now. And you have walked the Ender's line, which is a well-maintained series of old railroad tracks, aided by a group of individuals known as the Enders, who attempt to make certain that the desperate, scattered communities that live within this part of what was once known as the United States of America survives. That they receive the medical equipment that they need so desperately. That they receive food, for the highways are clogged with roaming packs of the dead. There are unassailable walls of rusted metal, broken concrete, and rebar. No one travels as they once did. There are no planes in the sky, no helicopters, no easy access. Much of what must be done is accomplished through paths that are kept by those who would hold the torchlight against the darkness. You are part of that. Your skills and your bravery Your willingness to put yourself in harm's way has brought you here now. But that does not mean that you are good people. That does not mean that you are selfless in what you do. You are rewarded for the work that you put into this Ender's line. And as Rag and Bone, you are all quite wealthy considering how others suffer without. You have access to items and goods that can only be dreamt of in certain corners of the far counties of these lands. If you are brave enough and hard enough to survive, Rag and Bone, that can provide you with a life. And while each of you have nothing else, this has become how you keep moving forward. And you stand there with the gates closed. Juniper, the younger woman that first greeted you, Sunny Wolcott, looks to you. Her blonde hair is pulled back, and she is now smeared with both blood, sweat, and mud. Thanks to her quick work and that of Abigail, you were able to retrieve the others. Achira, you chose to help Lampwick as he struggled in the field of the dead, nearly drowning in that mud, nearly being pulled down by the dead that rose there. That field was almost Lampwick's grave. Now you are catching your breath, gasping deeply, and realizing that surrounding you, this community may not be as welcoming as you had hoped that they might be. But Lampwick is alive. And Lampwick, you stand there now covered in mud. Abigail, you are fairly unscathed. And while now muddy, your two charges that you have brought with you here have also survived. The young man is leaning heavily on the elderly woman, and she is beaming brightly, a smile that is welcoming and kind, and her eyes are sparkling as if she were greeting old friends and not being threatened by an angry mob. The young man that leans upon her shoulder is cradling his stomach. The man who's introduced himself as Sanderson, a very rough-looking man with a shaved head, tall, pockmarked and aged, but strong. He looks over at another individual and immediately darts his eyes back to the young man. What's this? I want to know now. Who is this? Has he been bit?
Look, man, we don't really know who they are. They just came along with us. Okay. Now, obviously, which if you had given us a chance earlier, we would have conveyed that this guy right here is not doing so well. It's obviously important that everybody here knows that. As far as I know, he's not been bit. I wasn't going to get close enough to investigate, and I suggest that this is the medical camp, right? You get a hold of whoever your doctors are so that they can take a look at this guy.
Either that or you experiment on him, whatever you do here.
But you should keep your distance, as we have been doing.
The large man looks back at the woman that has appeared in the crowd. She holds no weapon. Her hair is grayed and pulled back tightly. She has dark eyes and is quickly examining the situation. She has introduced herself as Dr. Maria Espinosa. He hasn't been bit as far as you know.
Not as far as I know.
Apparently, he's sick with something. I'm sure you would be interested in finding out what, but maybe it's just a flu. Don't know, don't care.
These kind souls have guided us here. They have placed their trust in us, and surely we hope that you do as well.
Whoa, hold on. Wait a minute. Wait, no. No, we didn't place any trust in them. They were lost, and we helped them because we felt an inkling in our heart for an old lady and a sick fellow. But I do not take responsibility for anything that they do, and my honest opinion would be to watch them as closely as possible.
Yeah, they're not. I don't even know their names, so like I'm not part of this. This is not. I didn't do any of this.
Well, of course, no. I would not impose upon our saviors here. They have brought us all this way and have been kind enough to deliver us into your good and true hands. And as this young man has said, there does seem to be some aid to be found here. You are Dr. Maria Espinosa, are you not? I am. And as to what you were saying, she looks at you, Lampwick. We do not. This is not a medical camp. We are synthesizing penicillin. I have spent all of my time and trained some of the people here to do this, but she looks at the others and looks back to Sanderson and then to you. The 25 people that you see here, this is everyone. And while we may be able to help, as Sanderson has already told you, we expect you to work if you stay. Now, if you are just the rag and bone that we were expecting, then we will do our business and show you your way out swiftly. But if you wish to find some solitude here or some safe haven for a short period of time, we do have accommodations for that. However, before any of that happens, we need you to relinquish your weapons.
Hey, team. I think we can just go, right? Like we're just here to lower stuff and get. There's no point. We don't gotta do anything else. If we don't want to. We just leave.
We're just here to change hands, to deliver what we're supposed to deliver, and then we can go our own way. Maybe a little bartering if there's something that you might want for us and we might want from you, but otherwise you take my weapons when I'm dead on the ground and not getting back up again.
Sanderson steps forward and takes control of the conversation. Hunting rifle still firmly. It's not in your face, but it's down at the ground, and he's still holding it, cradling it, ready to move it if necessary. Well, that's all that I need to hear. Each of you then can move over to this section of the wall, and we will leave you there under some very careful watch. You may keep your weapons, but you will not be entering past the yard here.
That's fair
Agreeable?
enough.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, move on. We don't wish to belabor you. If you
Uh,
need to move quickly, we'll do what we have to get you out of here.
I'd like to
Come
make a
nightfall, we don't
suggestion.
open that gate. I want you all to understand that. So if you have any business to do, it has to be done within the next couple of hours.
Are you saying that you're a town that is dealing with synthesizing uh, penicillin, but you don't have overnight accommodations for those that do not wish to be a part of your community? Is that what you're saying right now?
The doctor steps forward again. I don't think we owe you an explanation. We are very careful, and we have been very kind to you up until now. You have disturbed a great deal of our field. When
Well,
they
did you want the oranges or not? I mean,
right. I kind of step in between, and I approach the doctor. Just take a step forward. Doctor, I know right now tensions are high, adrenaline is running, but I assure you, we came here simply to lend a hand. Really, where the survivors out in the world are very few. We understand the work that you do here has to be important. Surely we've earned at least a little bit of kindness, at least a little bit of respite. Uh, I would like to ask for at least a meal on the behalf of myself and my companions that have risked our lives and who we lost. Three, almost half of our group. Lost them on the way here, trying to accomplish what you needed us to do. Now, you can't truly mean that you're going to send us out into the night after having gone so far out of our way to deliver, at least to the best of our abilities, the goods that you so desperately need. Again, I assure you, we're on the same side.
I want you to
Speaking of a
make
missing crew, I'd actually like to ask you something, Doctor. You said you've been training these 25, correct?
we have Sanderson has, to be clear, but we have.
If perhaps there were some of your students here that you would like us to escort to other safe houses where they could perhaps also teach a few tips, tricks, how to make the penicillin. Um, I think we could use a couple extra hands carrying some things, and I would protect them to the best of my ability to get them in other places to save more people, if you could spare them.
That's not going to happen. You see, the equipment necessary to produce the penicillin is here. And even if any of them were advanced enough to be able to grow the mold and cultivate it on their own, they're effectively lab assistants. I don't think that risking those resources would be worthwhile. I could send notes if you wish to trade for them so that others might learn the process more fully. I mean, this is what used to be known as high school chemistry, but if you are interested in trying to spread this knowledge to those that you think do not have it, I could be convinced to see that you are carrying something that could be given to them.
I would be willing to trade with you, but, Doctor, if I may, I think the less people get sick and the more we all survive, the better. So I'd be willing to trade, but I think it would be kind of cool of you to just give it to me.
You really don't think that I'm synthesizing penicillin here because I'm selfish, do you?
No, no, not at all. That's valid.
Look, I'm leaving you in Sanderson's good care. You've expressed yourself and you are here to trade and trade alone. So do not worry. The goods and services that you seek will be provided to you. That said, if you're seeking medical supplies, you're going to have to wait. I just don't have it right now. It's going to take at least 3 days. If you're looking for something else, we can make the trades. But if you want any of this penicillin, I need time.
What about at least safety for those of us that risked our lives to get this material here for you?
I need you, Lampwick, to go ahead and make a persuade check, and I would like for you to do so with only 1 degree of difficulty, despite everything that has gone on, despite the fact that you are covered in mud and all of the occurrences. You did make a very compelling argument. So go ahead and make that roll and tell me how you do.
Okay. Oh, okay. So that's 3 degrees of success, but I also have a skill that automatically adds 3 extra degrees of success on a successful diplomacy check.
Well, you're a very successful con man. I would expect nothing else.
Yeah, well,
Even covered in
charming.
mud and standing here, you are able to convince them. The doctor does look back at you. All right. A meal tonight. You can rest as long as you like here. You can keep your weapons. You will be guarded at all times. There are some tents that we have, so you can sleep here 1 night without having to relinquish anything. That said, if I find any of you roaming outside of the yard here without an escort or the direct permission of someone in charge, I'm going to revoke any privileges and I will kick you out of these walls in the middle of the night. I don't care what's out there. Are we clear?
Yes. Um, I, I step away and kind of gesture to the doctor to join me in a more private conversation.
She looks at you. As you do, everyone else, you notice that across the yard, you see the elderly woman and the young man. A few individuals from this encampment have begun talking with them, and it seems like they're going through the same process. They've split them off away from you, and someone is examining and patting down both of them. And once that is completed, you see both of them are led off on the opposite direction of the gated wall that you are currently within. This is not simply just, it's not a town, but it is about 4 or 5 buildings that have been erected here around a centralized farmhouse on a hill. You see now that you're on the other side of the wall and there are not individuals standing directly in front of you, that a large 3-story old, very well maintained farmhouse is standing there on the center of this hill. It is not ostentatious. It is simple in its construction, but it has been cared for, and there are many parts of it that have been patched and repaired over the years. And you can see that it does look quite comfortable. And inside, as the afternoon kind of starts to linger on, and things start to get darker and darker as you are just now finding that the sun is setting, there are lights that begin to ignite inside of this old house, and you see oil lamps that are, I'm sorry, oil lamps that are lit, that are glowing and flickering in the windows, casting a very warm hue. There is the shattered old barn that is further back, probably deeper than this hill, far away from where you currently are. It seems completely dilapidated and unused, but there are a number of what look like outhouses that have been erected near that area. And there are workbenches that have been laid out that look like they are for specifically the slaughtering of animals and the tanning of leather. Additionally, to a deeper part of that, you see a number of pens and stables that are housing a number of cows and horses. There are chickens and roosters that run free in this yard, and a number of goats and lambs that are also moving about here. It seems to be a functional farm. There's even a number of gardens and fields. If any of you wish to make specific roles later on from this area, I can tell you a little bit about what you see there. However, you turn, Lampwick, to the doctor and request a private conversation. Hesitantly, she allows it, stepping off to one side and listening to you. Before we go back to you, Lampwick, I would like to know, Juniper, what are you doing in this moment as these conversations are happening?
I'm like really interested in Sunny's whole deal. She seems kind of cool. I decided like she's my friend, and I'm just kind of like trying to like scoop. Now that we're allowed to like walk around a little bit, if we are, I'd like to kind of scoot back over to her and try to make conversation.
Fair enough. Sunny is actually part of the individuals that are guarding Maria, that are standing there within the group. And you are able to make contact with Sunny if you like. She looks a little standoffish at first, and then realizes that you are attempting to be friendly, and starts to curiously start to look towards you, even though you can tell that she's still doing her duty and trying to guard this area. But you can see from time to time her eyes kind of dart up to you and then quickly kind of away. Achira, what are you doing in this moment?
No matter where and no matter how structured people think that their encampments or their towns are, there's always a darker side to things, like a type of black market that deals in things. And Achira wants to make inquiries into that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of things that she wants, and things that would probably be out of the scope of Dr. Maria Espinosa's eye.
Okay, excellent. So I will tell you that because you've accomplished your first mission, which was to arrive to this community, you have received 200 survivor points. Those points are going to be able to be distributed during these trades to allow you to acquire a number of items that can help you as you progress through your story. We will talk more about them as they come along, but it is effectively a pool of resource that you can draw from to bid items that you would like to see in your possession. There's no guarantee that any specific area is going to have anything that you're asking for, but through the use of these points, I will be much more lenient with the items that you retrieve. Certain items will be much more expensive than other items, so I ask that you very carefully manage those resources. Abigail, you had been talking with the doctor as well, and you see as Lampwick and the doctor kind of step off to one side for a moment. You're staring, and you see before you Sanderson, the large, heavily muscled older man, and a number of these guards that have come along with the others. They're all varied. All of their clothing, though it is somewhat clean, it has been worn and darned and repatched many times over. No one here seems to be particularly well off or unaffected by the world around them. You get the sense that everything here is well used and often recycled or regathered depending on the situation. What would you like to do in this moment?
I would like to look around since there's a lot of recyclable things around here. To see if I can't look for a couple scraps to fashion myself a couple more little latch on pockets and little places to hide some things to carry. I do know that last scrap we got into, there was a lot of pack dropping. So I'm gonna look for things to reinforce some of the packs I have and possibly make a new one.
Excellent. It's a very solid plan. We will include that in the negotiations that will be happening shortly as you trade the items that you have salvaged from Station 113. Now then, I've taken all of your current intentions. Lampwick, you are speaking with the doctor. We'll begin with you. The older woman looks to you, and you can tell that she's, while listening to what you have to say, you feel that the patience that she's shown is being tested. And as the leader of this encampment, she is very busy. So she looks at you in a way that you're familiar with, as someone of authority is finding your conversation trying. She looks to you and expectantly raises her eyebrows.
Look, I don't mean to take too much of your time. I know you clearly stated you have a lot going on. There's just a couple things I think that two more reasonably minded people can at least touch base on before we break. Um, Look, my group and I are good at what we do. We made it here. It strikes me that perhaps you do not have, although you probably have people that are capable, you probably don't have, perhaps, people that are willing to run for you, at least for longer distances. And you have a great thing going on here. I want to let you know that I can make myself and perhaps my group available for anything that you might need in terms of getting shit from one place to another out there. Um, one other thing I want to say is tonight, thank you for offering us a place to stay. Um, let's not hold the entire group accountable for any of the actions of an individual. And I'm saying mostly because I definitely don't want the two strangers, and I want to say again, strangers that came along with us, just in case something is revealed about them that's unsavory. I definitely want to make sure that that does not get put on the group I'm here with. We're all individuals. So if
What
any
was your
one
name
person,
again?
I'm Lampwick.
Lampwick.
I thought we covered that earlier.
We
I'm
did, we
sorry if I.
did, we did. I just want to be sure that I've got this right when I say this. Lampwick, I am not certain what you've encountered with these other two, but perhaps you should enlighten us as to why you are so distrustful of an old woman and an injured young man.
Look, I'll tell you completely upfront. We know that there's some kind of a sickness that's going around. That guy looks like he's acting kind of sick, right? That's kind of a big deal these days. She was also, when we encountered her, uh, she was singing loudly as they wandered by themselves, which, for those of us especially that are out there running errands, that's just not what you do. So she was also pristine. She's pretty filthy right now, but when we encountered her, she was as I've never seen anything like this from someone out there. She told us that she was a part of a group of missionaries and somehow they got separated. But hey, look, we didn't have time to really interrogate. She seems like a sweet old lady. And so we allowed them to tag along, but now they're here. And I wouldn't, it would be irresponsible of me if I wasn't completely upfront with you about all these things. And again, I just want to reassure you, I want to state one more time that uh, if anything happens in the night that we're here, just hold the individual accountable, not the group. I don't know them.
I want you to make another persuade check, but this time I'm giving you 3 degrees of difficulty.
Got it. Okay. Oof. All right.
So you got the single
Plus
degree
3.
of success, but you also gain 3 additional. She looks and sighs and then turns away, but before she moves very far, she turns back. Thank you for the information. I will not hold your group responsible for anything that that elderly woman or that sick young man do. We are not fools. We will watch them. However, you did the right thing. You brought them here, otherwise, they most definitely would have died in the middle of the wilderness. That's not a weakness. Some might see it as one, but I don't. And she turns and walks away. Juniper, while the others are breaking off and you see some of these individuals off in the distance guide that sick young man onto a stretcher and carry him off into a series of tents on the other side of the farmhouse, they also guide the old woman, helping her walk through all of this stretch of interior farmland back towards the same area where they've taken the young man. Sonny looks to you. You know they aren't going to be very happy with your group unless you put some effort in. You know, we've got a lot here that we try to protect.
Uh-huh. Oh, I mean, okay, I can tell you're trying to like give me important information that is going to help us, or what, and be nice. But we do this like all the time. Nobody is nice to us. Everyone's like super mean to us, even when they ask for something really specific and it's really hard to get, and then people die to get it to them, and we get there and they're all like, "You guys are not cool. You should leave." And I don't really know why we keep doing it, to be honest, but it's a job. It's something to do.
How old are you?
I don't know with that how I'm supposed to answer that.
It's all right. You don't have to answer it. I was just curious.
Do you have calendars?
We keep track here as best we can.
Oh, that would make sense if I would have kept track from the beginning.
Yeah, my parents, they used to own this place. It was years ago, and I was really young when everything went bad, but they were farmers, so we have ways of keeping track of stuff like that. It's part of what we do.
Oh, like the sun?
Yeah, that's part of it. There are seasons and they move. It's all just a big cycle, really. But look, if you need something specifically, I can maybe find it for you if you need it, just in the future, like while you're here.
Oh, well, I don't need anything. I feel like everyone in my group is really anxious about getting this or that, or doing, I don't know, fulfilling some, I don't know. It feels like everyone has some sort of this really specific goal that I can't figure out. I was just gonna ask what this town's game is. What do y'all do like at night and stuff? Like, what's the game of this town? Every town we go to has like a thing they do, or like a weird party they do, or like a dog that they fight or something. What's this town do?
We don't do any of that.
Oh.
We work. I mean, we work hard.
For what?
Well, we grow things. We grow garlic, and we make we make as many curatives and medicines as we can. It's lots of things can be grown and turned into medicine. I don't know. The doc is really good and has a lot of really great ideas on how we can help people. So we mostly just do that. There's not a lot of time for anything else. I mean, there's the old mine shafts, but we're not allowed to go back there.
That sounds incredibly interesting. Why are you not allowed to go in the mine shaft?
They are pretty amazing, but every time we go back there, Sanderson has a fit, and we all end up in a lockdown for at least a week.
That's so totally fishy then. Oh my gosh, there's definitely like hidden like cool stuff down there for sure. Anytime someone says don't go there and then you try to go there and they get mad at you, there's a cool secret. Like 80, maybe 50% of the time, maybe 40. I don't know percentages very well.
Yeah, I mean, but otherwise we just we just work. There is a VCR in the house. We've used that to watch old tapes when we were able to get them, and the twins are really all over it. I barely ever get to watch anything that I care about, but there are a few things. The generator, though, we don't have a whole lot of spare power, so we have to be careful. We've been, synthesizing biodiesel now for a while, and I'm boring you, aren't I?
I don't know like most of the words you're saying. But you have twin siblings?
No, I don't have any siblings that are alive any longer. They didn't make it, but that's not so surprising out here. No, no, there's
I hear that. Well, apparently we're staying overnight because Lampwick. Oh, I don't know if I heard that conversation actually. Never mind. Anyway, I think we're staying overnight. I don't know. If we stay overnight, do you want to go look in the secret mine with me? What else is there to do?
all right. I've got to get back to work, but I'll talk to you later, okay?
I'll
And
just be here.
she kind of rushes off with the others, and as things start to disperse, they leave like two guards here, watching out for those who have been left behind. Um, Achira, you are keeping a sharp eye on everything around you, right?
Yes.
I would like for you to make a spot listen check, please.
Hmm.
Yeah, so you have 4 degrees of failure. I'm not going to overly punish you on this roll. However, know that you are certainly not hearing anything unless you wish to spend some of your competency points.
I'd have to spend all of them just to break even.
It's probably not worth it, right?
Not at this point in time.
Okay, so yeah, you are standing there and you hear Juniper just a mile a minute rattling off this list of questions to this other girl who seems to be part of these survivors. And while that is happening, you kind of hear a little bit of what Lampwick is saying just off in the distance, and then you try to like hear some of those words, and it trails off. And you do see this group that's leading the old lady across the yard as well, and all of this kind of washes across you, and you just have an impending sense of something isn't right, something is wrong here, and you can't place your finger upon it, but you know you've missed something.
Something's always wrong in places,
Yeah.
especially when they think that they're on the up and up. There's something even more wrong in places like that.
Mm-hmm.
What Achira would be aiming for with what she's looking around for people, she'd look for someone who is lower stature than
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Maria Espinoza,
Mm-hmm.
even lower stature than the second in command. She's looking for third in command, third or fourth in command, who, whenever the commanding eye is on them, they're subservient. Whenever it's not, they stand tall. That's the person that she's looking for to be able to get the information and the items that she's looking to acquire.
Okay, I will allow you to make a detect motives roll as you're kind of studying the people here, as you're kind of quietly leaning back, cleaning some of the mud off of you and going through your pack. You start to kind of witness the other survivors in this encampment, and you're looking to see if you can start to determine some of the key individuals that seem to be moving about. That's 1 degree of failure. If you wish, you can.
I'll spend 2.
Okay.
Make this a success.
So it is a success, and you do spot someone who's been very quiet this entire time, who has been standing behind Sanderson. They are very, very good at disappearing in the middle of a crowd. In fact, now that you see that they were there, you're kind of surprised that they got as close to you as they did without you noticing. It seems that they have a skill for appearing in the right place at the right time. And you can tell that this man is very attentive. He doesn't look threatening. He's girthy, one might say overweight, but not by much. Certainly has a what used to be referred to as a beer gut, and given the situation with food these days, that's an accomplishment. But he does have a very full beard, and you can tell that with his eyes that dart back and forth, that he's quietly watching everything that is happening. And as Juniper is talking with Sunny, you see that he casts a glance over to Sunny at one point, and Sunny ends the conversation with Juniper and leaves very quickly upon his gaze. And so he does seem to wield some authority, but certainly not the same amount as either the doctor or Sanderson. You do not know his name, but he is clearly the type of person that you could rely on for the specific requirements of what you were asking.
Achira would, as stealthily as possible, move over next to this person to be within hearing distance, and facing away from them,
Mm-hmm.
and not looking at them while also carrying on the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
This is such a nice camp that they have here.
Are you all talking to me?
I am indeed. I mean, just it seems such on the up and up, right? They're making penicillin like that's not one of the hottest things to make. Um,
There's a lot that's hard these days, but I'll tell you what, the doctor's real smart and has been doing a real fine job of making that medicine. Makes a lot of other things too, but the penicillin, just given how cold it's been getting, now that I shouldn't. By the way, y'all have expressed that you aren't going to be staying around, so you know, per what Sanderson says, I'm just going to keep an eye on you. We probably
yeah,
shouldn't talk. Yeah.
that is not even a thing. I'm not even worried about that. See, the thing of it is that I'm not interested in penicillin. I'm not interested in whatever they have in the local trade shop or whatnot, whatever you call it here for this particular village, town, encampment, whatever you want to call it. I'm more interested in the things that people like us make and procure and barter with each other. I'm not interested in penicillin. I'm interested in other things. And
All right.
along with that, I'm interested in exploding things.
I see what you're saying, and yes, we do have a good number of items that we might be able to barter with you. Yes, I can help you if you're looking for specific items. Certainly, that isn't something that is not outside of. I do handle not only the rations here at the encampment as far as inventory and whatnot, but I also uh, I also know a good deal about our armaments and what we can afford to spare if the trade is good.
The trade is very good. We are very successful in what we do. And also, like we showed today, that no matter the obstacles, we end up delivering. So I think we could have a very nice conversation, you and me.
All right, yeah. We can talk. Yeah, but I'm guarding after y'all, and I'll be here. I'll be in charge once Sanderson takes his leave. But if you need anything, you just ask for Chuck Wagon.
Indeed. Chuck Wagon, I do have a number of things that I think it would be very beneficial for a party. And like I said before, we are interested in, yes, we have our main missions that we do from encampment to encampment, but also, I guess, we've got room for what I call fetch and carries, where it's like if you need something from somewhere else or you need something delivered to somewhere else, we're the type of group that makes sure that that happens as long as it's sweet for us too.
Make a persuasion check, please.
Oh,
And
I
I'm
should
only
have
going to
put
give
some
you.
stuff in persuasion for her.
I'm
I
just going to
put
give
too
you
much of
one
harder.
one degree of difficulty is all that I'm going to give you here because you did very smoothly work your way into that situation.
Is there any way that I can perhaps hold something in my hand now to show that I am on the up and up on and use my barter instead of my persuade?
Well,
And
that depends on what you are going to hold up. So tell me what you're holding up.
I would think that, yeah, she would. I would think that Achira would have palmed one of those oranges that was being carried. So
Hmm.
it's like a full orange that they don't know about, that wasn't passed over. She
Mm-hmm.
would definitely do that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, he definitely takes note. I will remove that degree of difficulty, and I will allow you to roll straight. It's tough. That's 1 degree of failure. Do you wish to hold on to it, or do you want to do something about it? It's a tough situation. You've come in, and there's a lot of tension moving on here. Chuck Wagon is definitely somebody who follows marching orders, and you're showing him some contraband that you've kind of taken out of the main storehouse of what you were attempting to trade off on. So while that might be considered part of your payment for the work done, it also kind of shows that maybe you're not going to be as upfront with everything else that you have. So if you wish to remove that, I will have him take nothing out of this conversation other than you're looking to do some side trading. But if you leave it as is, he's certainly going to take it as a bit of a sign of your trustworthiness.
Okay. Um, if I put in 2 to make it a success, like my last 2 that I
Yes.
have to put in, would that open the ways of behind the scenes trade?
Absolutely. If you get into a positive situation by spending those 2, I will certainly have him react a little more attentively and kindly to the idea of making side trades. He will assume the best of you as opposed to assume the worst.
All right, let's do it.
All right. So you've spent the last of your competency points, Achira.
Yeah.
And Chuck Wagon looks to you, and it takes a moment. You can see all of these things wash across his kind of. He has this big beard, and he's kind of gruff looking, and he's got these overalls and the flannel shirt. I mean, he looks really backwoods, but you can tell that he's very intelligent. And he looks at you and kind of judges this entire situation. But you can see that from his face, he's much kinder than his exterior would belay. So in that moment, you can see that he is taking a risk and choosing to believe the best of you. Well, yeah, if you've got personal stake that you're willing to give back, we really do need those oranges. Like every peel is another potential set of doses that we can send out into the world, and they're very valuable. I mean, you know how hard it is to find citrus fruit all the way up here in this part of the state, and I just yeah, we can make some trades. I've got plenty to do that with, but uh, what did you say your name was one more time?
I'm Achira Sampson.
Achira Sampson. Well, it is a
And
pleasure.
like I did say, I'm not looking for things that are just the stuff that you would give to just any old body that comes in here. I'm looking for things that you might find. And then she watches him in his face while she's like, uh, maybe the drugs that didn't quite make it, and also things from the mine shaft.
I understand what you mean, and yeah, yeah, we've got some things to make some trades with. Those oranges are very important. I can't really question where the items that we might give you might end up. It's a tough world. All right, yeah, we can make some deals, but I'd appreciate it if you just kept this between us right now.
Well, that's just how I live life, right? That's how most people should. Let's go ahead and talk.
All right, ma'am. So Chuckwagon and you continue your conversation. Abigail, during all of this, it seems as if the group has broken off and is talking to a number of survivors. Um, you're standing there, and Sanderson is with his arms crossed and his rifle now shoulder holstered next to him. He stares at you, and he looks at the others, and then back to you. So you've made your way here now, and you're only going to be staying a short amount of time, and then you're going to be leaving, right?
Yep, more work to do, more Romeros to slay, more ungrateful people to deliver things to.
All right. And as far as the Ender's line, what sort of news do you have? Or is that going to cost us?
I think it might. Cost you a handwritten note of the recipe of some penicillin.
All right. Well, that's going to be up to the doctor. Anyway, I'm going to be watching you from that guard tower over there. You look like you do know your way around a rifle. I saw you out there in the field. Are you military?
Not quite. I'm a survivor.
Aren't we all? Well, survivor, I'm going to tell you right now, I'll be watching you from that tower, and I'm just as good with a rifle. I've also got a scope that's really good. So, you and your allies here do what you need to do, make your trades. If you stay the night, you can rest, whatever that is. You cause any trouble here at Grey Ridge, and I will be the first to off every single one of you. We've had enough problems. Enough of us have paid the price for outsiders coming in and being, I don't know, the way they are. You understand?
Well, hey, yeah, and I'll give you a little heads up. Um, those two that we brought with us, that old woman and that kid, they were rambling on about thinking there was a cure of some kind. So while there is no visible bite on that boy, I believe it's not out of the realm of possibilities that he may have been bit, and that old woman thinks that there's some way to fix it. Uh, Again, maybe the quicker he sees a doctor, the better.
All right. We have the best medical care that's probably within 100 miles of this spot, so I would say that he's in the right place. That said, we also know how to give mercy when it's needed. Like the
Understood.
doctor said, we're not fools. What's your name?
Rebecca.
All right, Rebecca. If you need anything, that man right there, pointing over to the area where Achira is kind of quietly talking to a large man, that's Chuck Wagon. You tell him, he'll tell someone else, they'll tell me. But you don't leave this spot unless you're guided by someone and directly instructed to do so. Make sure that your friends know that too, because I don't want to find you poking around here. And I definitely don't want to find anybody stealing things out of our garden. That's going to cause a problem too.
Understood. Don't leave unless I'm following Chuck Wagon.
Yes, and thank you. And as the survivors gather up, each of them held together in this 20 by 20 area outside of the fence, you notice that on three sides you are pinned in. There is only one way in or out of this section. And we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. Please don't go anywhere. There's much more to tell as we continue on. Welcome back to Hunter's Entertainment on Twitch.tv. My name is Noxweiler Burf, and I am your game master tonight for Outbreak, Undead, Rag and Bone. Our survivors have found respite, the security of walls that are temporarily protecting them from the harshness of the wilderness beyond. The dead rise in these lands, as they do everywhere within this world. The apocalypse is here and now, and there is no escape. Each of them have gathered a number of resources that they will be attempting to barter with, hoping to be able to find some amount of medical supply that may be carried forward, as that was what was requested by the Enders. They have traveled the line to this community, Grey Ridge. It is a small farming community that, from all accounts, has begun to manufacture small batches of penicillin within its walls. This penicillin is needed elsewhere within these territories. Communities are racked with a very ordinary but quite deadly flu. While the illness that causes the dead to rise is still rampant, that does not mean that other viral outbreaks do not occur. And the services that are provided by Grey Ridge offer some amount of hope to those in need. Everything hinges upon how the survivors might be able to negotiate. They've only managed to bring 1/4 of the resources with them that were lying within the station known as 113. Under guard, muddy, and exhausted, the survivors are huddled into a small area within this encampment. Buckets of water and towels have been brought. Each of you are allowed to clean yourselves in a private area that has a number of bed sheets that have been hung. As each of you undertake the task of removing the thick, caked mud, Lampwick, you feel the darkness around you bring a chill that reaches deep into you. You shiver inadvertently. You realize that as you wash this mud off of you, and you think about the illness that that young man held, you begin to wonder if you truly escaped unscathed. Anyone who is near Lampwick may make a first aid check. Juniper, you have rolled 1 degree of success. Achira, you have managed to accumulate 3 degrees of success. Abigail, if you would like to make the roll as well, I can give you information if you succeed.
I did. It's taking a second to come through on my end. Bit of bad Wi-Fi, I think.
Perfectly acceptable. Achira, you notice that this sheen of sweat has not left Lampwick's brow. And that as he goes about the business of unpacking the bags that were managed to be salvaged, he looks a little paler than he did before. It's very subtle, but you do not think that he's wholly healthy. Juniper, you do notice that Lampwick is moving a little more slowly. His eyes have a little far away look to them. You've seen sick people before and you're starting to wonder, but you're not certain. And as all of you stand there, and Lampwick, you start to feel this kind of wave of strange, feverish weightiness fall upon your brow. What do each of you do?
Achira's gonna go over and talk to him, not too close, but not where a whole lot of other people can hear either.
I'm gonna go ask the person who's like watching the door of the tent. I guess we have people guarding us. For like a sandwich to give to Lampwick because I think he's hungry.
The individual, when you go over there, he looks at you. He's got a big beard and he's wearing overalls and a flannel shirt that's been stitched up and patched many times over. He looks to you. Yes. Well, there will be provisions that will be brought in, but I don't know when they'll be bringing them. I'm sure he'll be taken care of fairly soon. We did promise a dinner, and a dinner is imagine that's what you're gonna get.
Okay, one of our team back here is just like a little delicate. Needs to be fed on time. Probably something to do with, I don't know. He's just looking a little weird, but okay, thanks. Just holler when dinner's up.
Hold up.
Hmm.
Here. He reaches into his pocket and he pulls out a small leather bag and shakes out into your hand a number of dried apples.
Aw, sweet. Thanks, bro. I take like 2 of them. I just kind of eat them. And then I get back to Lampwick.
Yeah, so you walk away eating some of the dried apples and then you bring them over to Lampwick. And Achira, you're there and you're studying Lampwick from a distance.
Well, I'm going to be talking with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're an idiot.
All right. Well, thank you for that.
No, I'm not going to make it widespread to everyone else, but it's real obvious you're down with something.
Hey, what are you two talking about? And I just kind of throw the apples just like at Lampwick. I'm like, here you go. I can do his laugh.
There's a scatter of dried apples kind of fall across you.
Do I feel hungry, or is like like looking at the apples, is my appetite even?
You can go ahead and let's have you make an endurance check.
All right.
Endure the apple tossing.
Yeah, well, Abigail, you also in this moment have noticed all of this. That is 5 degrees.
I killed him with the apples.
Is there anything that you want to do? You rolled 108.
I sure did. Oh, you know what? That was with 3 difficulty dice.
You still had 3 difficulty dice.
Okay.
I'm going to let it stand because you are certainly not doing well.
Okay. Well, I'm not.
So you immediately kind of double over, and Lampwick vomits to one side.
You.
Everyone on the outskirts of the group stops. The guards turn and look in at the retching. All right, y'all, just stay away from him, and I'm gonna let the doc know
There's no real need to do that. No, it's he was under the weather before we even started this whole thing.
And you didn't think to tell us when you were talking about how sick that other one was?
We were trying to get the job done.
All right. Yeah, I understand. But look, y'all are going to have to just stay here while I go and let others know. We got 2 people who are watching you right now. Don't move. All right? And Chuckwagon turns and just kind of hurries off, looking back over his shoulder. Abigail, what are you doing in this moment?
I am watching all of this go down, and I am grabbing some kind of cloth or an extra piece of material that I have and holding it over my face and walking over to look at Lampwick judgingly as I shake my head. And I say, all right, man, what are we going to do with you?
Look, this just came on suddenly. I was feeling fine until just moments ago. I don't know if I need you guys to see if something bit me. I want to know if this is a flu or if this is the other stuff.
All right, then we can do that. Strip.
I strip. I don't care.
Okay, so yeah, you strip down and everyone starts to examine Lampwick for bites. There are none. There are some small scrapes, but they don't seem to be anything other than rocks and when he was falling and pulling himself back up. Nothing that looks like a claw mark or a bite.
All right, then. It's bacterial or viral. Maybe it's the common cold. Maybe you got a little bit too close to Typhoid Mary and Typhoid Timmy.
Hey, well, then you guys need to keep your distance, okay? but this just started. I just kind of go like to the corner and make sure I'm keeping my distance from them, and start to like wrap myself up in whatever fresh clothes, if they brought us any, or whatever I was just wearing.
Once you empty the contents of your stomach, you find that you are almost immediately better than you were. You aren't quite as pale. The sweat seems to have stopped. You still feel a little bit feverish, but emptying your stomach did a world of good for you, and it feels as if there has been some weight that has been lifted. But you are clearly, something is wrong, and you do feel that, but it is not as bad as it was just a moment ago. Abigail, how do you react to all of this? Is there anything that's happening on your side of the encampment while you are observing Lampwick in this situation?
I'm not certain. Is there? Should I do a spot listen?
Yeah. Why don't you make a spot listen for me? There are no degrees of difficulty to this.
I am very blind. Give me just a moment to find it.
Absolutely fine.
There we go.
Okay, that's 4 degrees of failure. As the conversation begins to escalate in the back of the encampment, you realize that it's very hard to hear anything that's happening on the outskirts beyond this specific area. You do see a number of individuals rushing about. It is dark now, and there are oil lamps that are moving about the encampment inside of the walls. On the watchtowers, you see a number of lights as well that continue to burn. Lampwick, you find yourself a seat. You are wrapped in your blanket and you shiver very slightly. And your mind begins to wander. You're standing outside of the car that you've procured for this specific task. You've got all of the instructions that were left to you, and you see in front of you the sign, stone, low to the ground, very large brass plaque. Westfield. And you look beyond the large parking lot to the well-positioned structure that lies there beyond in the lights. It is night, and you know you don't have very much time. You need to move in and out very, very quickly. If this is going to work, if what you are supposed to do is going to happen the way it's supposed to happen, you have a very small window of time. Isabel was clear. The shifts would begin and end precisely at 9:30 p.m. Your watch clicks over 9:25. What have you brought with you?
Well, I have brought definitely gloves, anything that cover my tracks. I've brought with me a needle with so who my target is in the hospital, right?
It is Vandergriff.
Mm-hmm.
She told you all about him.
Yep.
He was in remission, and it didn't look as though he was going to pass away as quickly as expected. Isabel can't continue doing what she does. She has implored you to help her finish this as quickly as possible.
So, trusting Isabel, I asked for her to give me something that's going to overdose him.
She has. You have a syringe. She wasn't particular about what was inside of it. She told you that it would do what it needed to do and that no one would be suspicious. All you have to do is make your way into his room and place it into his IV. The tubes are all there. You just inject it, turn around, and leave. 9:30, the shifts change, and if you do get caught, the attending nurse, her name is Rebecca. The cameras apparently aren't even working. They haven't been repaired. This is a privately funded hospice. And while it is housing some of the most affluent elderly in the area, the owners are very greedy and very careful to save money in every area that they can. Cameras and camera repair in a closed circuit system is very expensive. Thankfully for you and your accomplice, that will make your job all the more easy. You have a pair of leather gloves. You have a needle. Isabella's educated enough to know exactly the dosage that would be necessary to stop his heart. All you have to do is make your way through quickly, unseen, deliver the dosage, and then leave. And then you're both millionaires.
That's the plan. I also have a knife, just in case I need it.
The knife is tucked into the back of your pants and hidden by your jacket. You begin moving across the parking lot. It is still slick with rain, and the alarm on your watch beeps. It is 9:30.
I move in.
You begin walking carefully across the tarmac of the lot, and you make your way to a pair of glass double doors. They immediately slide open as you approach. You see the signage and are met immediately with the stench of poorly hidden human waste. Cleaning supplies hang heavy in the air, but it is unmistakable. Urine, the smell of shit smeared across this place cannot be hidden, cannot be removed. It smells like death. And you're now standing in the middle of a very lavish, carefully appointed waiting room. There are fresh... Our story continues. We apologize. It seems that the spirits are unhappy. Let us continue. Lampwick, you were doing something very, very important. You have a set of keys as well. The door...
One thing, if I may, there's one thing as I approach the door and I'm passing the table that you said had some flowers on it, but no one's around, right?
No one's around.
Snatching up a flower just in case I need it.
You're holding now a handful of flowers as you make your way to the door on the left. It is predictably locked, but you know which key to use, and you make short work of it. As you open this hallway, entering into it, that smell, it grows stronger. And you start walking down this corridor. There are doors that have been left open and a number of medical trays that are lining these halls. There are large plastic containers that are marked with a biohazard symbol. And you hear moaning. There are many doors, and as you pass by them, you see the frail bodies of a number of elderly. Some look at you with dazed eyes, tied together on a network of IV drips and heart monitors. No one else is here. They all seem to be alone, and you see no nurses in the halls. As you pass by a doorway, you hear, Esther? Esther, is that you? Esther, get Jimmy away from them cars. He can't play by the road. Esther. Esther. And you continue walking. There is a woman in a wheelchair with an IV attached to it. She's sitting there in an open doorway, her head slouched down, drooling upon herself. And you walk past her towards the doorway that you know belongs to your target. Do you continue?
Everyone here, I know this is a home for wealthy folks, right?
You do.
I don't even look at any of these people.
You pass by the woman in the chair, and she grabs on to you, your wrist, and pulls you feebly. Her hand, like old parchment, just easily drops away. Do you look back?
I look to see if there's anything on her that can identify her for me, a name or anything.
You stop and you look back. The old woman is wearing a very expensive bathrobe, but it has been soiled and poorly maintained. She has no jewelry on her. Her room is beyond this doorway. She looks to you, and then her eyes, somewhat blindly, looks up towards your face. You do not think that she sees you. And you glance over and you see a medical chart next to the room number 24.
I take the chart,
You take
Pocket
the
it.
chart.
take the pages off of it. If I can fold it up, I pocket it.
Okay. You take it, and do you continue on?
I sure do.
Further down the hallway, you find the room that you're looking for. It is exactly as Isabel has described it. It is what would effectively be considered a suite within this facility. There is a separate antechamber. There are separate nurse stations here. Large cabinets filled with various medicines and personal effects line the halls here. A large, dark oaken door is standing before you, and you make your way forward. Do you enter the room?
If this is where he is, this is where I will enter.
The door creaks open slowly, Lampwick. There is a large bed here. It is a medical bed, but it has been outfitted with very comfortable looking sheets and comforters. There are statuary pieces in this room, vases, other pieces of art that have been brought in, personal items that have made this room almost feel like a museum gallery. There is a wheelchair to one side, a television, a radio, much more than there are in the other rooms in this place. If each of the individuals that live here are indeed wealthy, the man who occupies this room must be the richest of them all. In the bed, you see a frail and skeletal-looking figure. Wispy gray hair that has been neatly trimmed, and just the slightest hint of stubble, white as snow, across his face. His eyes are closed, and he is dressed in purple silk pajamas. There are a number of machines that he is attached to. You see a heart monitor. You see also the IV that has been described to you, Lampwick. Everything is very quiet, save for the very soft sound of distant jazz playing low on the radio. The tune swings in and out of this chamber as you enter, lending to an airy and dreamlike feel. The person in the bed seems quite comfortable. What do you do?
Without hesitating, I go straight to the IV and do exactly what I came here to do.
You step closer to the bed, and the old man opens his eyes and looks at you directly. Who the fuck are you?
I don't say anything back. I just go about my business.
You tell that lazy bitch Rebecca that it's time. I've been waiting now for 3 hours. I don't wait, you understand? Are you one of them fucking new orderlies?
I turn the music up.
You're a stupid son of a bitch, aren't you?
I turn it up louder.
I didn't tell you to turn up the radio. I told you to get fucking Rebecca.
I turn it up louder, and I only focus on the IV at this point.
They just hire idiots here. Do you know who the fuck I am? Do you know what I've done? Who I am? Do you know what I could do to you? If I told them that you weren't fucking doing your job, you dumb piece of shit? I could own you. I could own you. That whore Rebecca needs to get her stupid ass in here.
I smack him.
Your hand flies across his face, and there is a snapping noise as his head hits back against the backboard of the bed. An enormous purple welt starts to grow across his face, and he lies there, unmoving.
I gotta get out of here. Didn't mean to do that. Oops. I get back to the IV, make sure I get that part done without any mistakes.
You have done your job. The old man is certainly dead. The music is playing loudly, and now the swinging jazz tune fills the hallway as you leave. Your watch beeps again. 9:45.
I exit, and I turn to look to see if the woman that was in the wheelchair whose chart I took, just to get one last glance.
You see her. She doesn't seem to see you, but she is there.
I try to take a photo of her with my mind.
You do. You memorize every wrinkle, every descriptive part of this elderly woman's face. You've done this before. It is a skill that you've honed like a razor-sharp knife. You know your next mark as you slip out. As you leave, the beeper at your side loudly buzzes. You look at the number and you recognize it. It's Isabel.
Huh. I don't have a phone. Do I?
You'll have to find a payphone. You do have a pager.
Great. I get to my car and I drive away. And I get to a spot that seems just out of the way enough and safe. Nearest payphone that I think is somewhere in a vicinity like that.
You find a gas station not too far away, but far enough to keep you in the clear of anything that might be stirred because of the situation. There, at that gas station, is standing off in a dark corner with a flickering light, a payphone. And you struggle to find the correct change, but eventually put 2 dimes and a nickel into it. Dial a number. Well, is it done? As you go ahead.
As the phone rings, I look at the paper of the chart of the woman in the wheelchair, and I read the name.
Yeah.
What's it say?
Christine Hedgemeyer.
Excellent.
Age 85. It has her address. It has her medical details upon it. The medication that she's taking. What her
Next
doctor
of
is.
kin?
It does, along with phone numbers.
Beautiful. And the phone rings.
It quickly picks up. Is it done? Did you do it?
It's done.
Oh, baby, good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad. Good job. What, did anyone see you? Did you get in and out?
In and out, no problem. And I got a little bonus. Christine Hedgemeyer, I believe.
Hedgemeyer. No, we can't hit that mark.
Oh, why not?
You're not going to want to mess with the Hedgemeyers. They're connected.
That's never really stopped us before, has it?
The way that her family's connected, we shouldn't. And by the way, you just made us a very large amount of money, and Cancun is, just right there. So here's the deal, all right? I've already packed my things up, and I'm gone. I need to make sure that I show up tomorrow as if everything's normal. I need you to disappear for like a week, right?
Wait, what?
You need to disappear for like a week. I can't have, I'm going to tell Rebecca that you and I are done and that we had a falling out, and I'm going to be upset, and we're going to talk about all that. But for the most part, what I need to do is make sure that I'm seen tomorrow at work without any complications.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah. Lampwick, just listen. This is the plan, baby. You just need to disappear for 1 week. Can you do that?
Yeah, I can do that.
Don't be seen.
Can I
That's
just
all.
see you tonight? Can I just see you?
Honey, no, we can't, because if we do and anyone sees us together and for whatever reason maybe somebody saw you that maybe you didn't know saw
Nobody
you.
saw me. Nobody
I know
saw me.
you say that, but we have to be sure. And that's going to keep that separation so that no matter what happens, we're in the clear. You get it. It's just safety. We had a good time last night. Don't worry. I'll still be here in a week, and then we can spend a life together in Cancun. But until that happens, I just need you to lay low. 1 week's not going to kill you. You told me to think, and I'm thinking.
All right.
Stay away from the Hedgemeyers, okay? I'm serious. That's too much because they're connected in Chicago, and I'm not going to get into that. Do you understand?
I understand.
All right.
You
All right,
notice
baby.
you call a lot of the shots. You notice that?
This is my plan. You come up with yours. We'll do yours next, all right?
Okay.
All right. Hey.
Hmm.
I'll be thinking about you.
Good.
Click. And you're standing there at the corner of this gas station. And a week goes by, and you find your hole to hide in, and you never hear from Isabel again.
Fucking bitch.
Sister Abigail, you are sitting in a pew at our Mother of Holy Remembrance. It's a small satellite church under the purview of the active Catholic Council within Boston. You are young. You took your vows as soon as you could. As early as you possibly could become tied to your faith, you did so. It was your hope that in taking that step, you could help others the way that you had been helped. And you pray now in this large, beautiful chapel, surrounded by all of the symbology that you have placed every ounce of your faith and being within. The beads sit between your hands as they are clasped together, and all is quiet. As you carefully work your way through your daily prayers, then you hear footsteps and someone standing behind you.
Who's there?
As you turn, you see a man, one of the priests. His name is Father Stevens, and he looks to you. He is an older man, gray, thinning hair, but a very steady and kind face.
Father Stevens, I didn't see you. I do apologize. You gave me a fright.
It's all right, my dear. We understand, you know. There's plenty to be praying about today. I thank you for your time. Now, if you don't mind, you know, Judith was asking for you, so you might wish to make your way over and see her before it's too late.
Oh, yes, Sister Judith had mentioned that. I do apologize. I'm a bit of a scatterbrain sometimes, but it's one of the things I've been praying for. Hopefully, God will set that straight soon.
Yes, of course, yes. And he nods, and you stand and make your way through a series of corridors to the room that you know Sister Judith is waiting behind. You also know that Judith is not well, and she's not been for some time. She's had lymphoma cancer now for some time, and the treatments have been failing. They have done everything that they can, and she has been made comfortable, and her one request was that she pass out of this world here within God's house. And the Archdiocese has allowed it. And so as you make your way to this door, you know what you will find on the other side, and it fills you with a small amount of dread. She's not the woman that helped to raise you, and she's not the woman that you remember. Her spirit is still strong, and her mind is as sharp as it ever has been, but she is frail and fading. While many of the priests here have come from all across the country, brought together along with the nuns that also serve here, there is a wide collection of individuals that have come to this small satellite, hoping to be able to work underneath those who serve here. For it is well known throughout the country that here in Boston there is no shortage of faith. And those who follow here are often greeted with some of the most elaborate, the most kind, and most engaged individuals that the church has to offer on the shores of the United States. Judith, however, has always been here, has been raised, and now will die in Boston. And she has always been very kind to you. You approach the door. How do you enter?
I knock very softly at first.
Yeah, come in, please. You're welcome in.
Sister Judith,
Hey,
is there
yeah, I see you there, child. Come here, come here.
anything I can do for you, sister?
She grabs your hand and holds it in hers. I would appreciate if you could just pray with me. That would be all that I need, you know? If you could pray, just pray with me.
Yes, of course. Before I do, I feel like I've never fully said how much, how much you've been an influence on me, and I hope that one day I can be as brave and dedicated to our Lord as you are.
Child, it's been a long road. You and I, we've walked a far path together, you know? The two of us. I would very much like now for you and I to find a way to talk to one another in the light of the Lord's truth, and to be fully honest with one another, Abigail.
Oh yes, of course, Sister Judith, anything.
Now, look, I know you. I've known you since you were a girl, and I can see those things in you that you don't show other people, right? And so, in my faith and my study, I've found that there are only so many points that any of us get to be honest with one another. And I would like for you and I now to be honest, because I know that I am dying, and I'm okay with dying. But I wish to receive the Lord's judgment and loving embrace, knowing that I did as right by you as I could. Boston's been hard on you. It's been hard on a lot of us, right? I've already asked the Lord for forgiveness, and I know that He will provide it. But I have to ask you for forgiveness, and I hope that you can give it.
Oh, whatever for Judith.
I've known you since you were 14. I've seen you here, and I've seen that bright face of yours shine here within our church. It has lightened many hearts, and I am very thankful for all that you have provided. But when you came to me about Father Walker and what you discovered at St. Stephen's, it's the reason that I asked you to be transferred to this parish under my watch. I couldn't do anything. I didn't say anything. And Abigail, I should have. More, my dear, I can't. Just tell me if you forgive me.
Oh, of course I forgive you. I'm just a little confused. That's all. But forgiveness is always the right path. No.
You cannot do that, Abigail. I will not allow it. You cannot hide from this or pretend that this does not exist. I have done enough of that for all of us, and now there are more young men that are coming out, and they are talking. They're talking the truth of their situation. There are more victims within these holy walls that we were meant to protect, and we did not. And I did not. You did everything that you needed to do.
I did try my hardest.
I know I have failed you.
I suppose the Lord works in mysterious ways, sister. Perhaps your justice lies not here, but in the next world.
I know that I will meet my Maker, and I know that his mercy or wrath will be mine. But I am not worried here about myself, Abigail. It's not too late for you. You are still very, very young. And I am afraid that I have seen the spark go out from that bright face. I want you to be honest with me, Abigail. Do you still have faith in your heart?
Of course. Of course I do.
You feel her hand grasping yours. She nods. I made the mistake of thinking that we did not have power. This life is hard, and it is not for everyone. Abigail, I need you to make me a promise before I pass.
What's that?
You will never forget your power.
I can promise you that.
She kisses your hand, and her dried lips linger there for a moment, and she looks to you and pats your hand as loving as a mother might. She sighs and rests herself back on her pillow. And in the darkness of that room, you realize that she has drifted off to sleep. Abigail, when you are alone there with her, unseen, what do you do?
Is she asleep?
Her chest is moving slowly up and down. She is still with you, but she is not awake.
Is there anyone else in the room?
You are alone.
Is there anyone in the hallway outside of the room?
There is no one.
I would like to take the pillow beside her and I am going to hold it over her face. And I say, this is a mercy I do unto you, sister. Your suffering has gone on long enough, and I believe it is time that you get your own justice. I apologize.
The
I
fighting...
send you into God's hands now.
The fighting that occurs, Abigail, is very weak. In fact, only the startled moment when she is awoken seems to be aggressive, as she grasps onto your arms with her hands. And then there is almost a gentle grasp to them as she accepts her faith and slowly, quietly passes away.
Oh, sister, I'm so sorry. Dear Lord, please forgive me.
You begin praying, but as you do, Abigail, something has changed. And in the darkness of that room, you feel alone. Juniper, you and your sister are sitting around a small fire that you've created. It burns brightly in the metal container that the two of you found off of the side of the abandoned building. It's very cold tonight, and you have managed to clean each other up as best you can. It's been a while since you nearly died in the hospital. The others that were with you are gone. They've not emerged. You watched the doors for some time, and the fire that preceded it ensured that they didn't make it out. Now you and your sister sit around a small, burning, warm fire of your own. Olive is there. She is quietly pushing dirt around in front of her with a stick, and she looks over at you from time to time. I'm not even sure where we're gonna go. Do we try to find the others that were part of the Rag and Bone group, or do we just go off on our own?
I don't know. I feel like we've always just been part of the Rag and Bone group because it was something to do, not because we like wanted to do it. This isn't the first time people have kind of died on a mission. It's not like this is super different than before. I mean,
I think that they may have questions that, we shouldn't have to answer. I mean, it's not our fault that they were so stupid.
yeah, people die like all the time. It's pretty normal. I don't know. I don't know why people get so surprised.
Yeah.
This can happen. This stuff happens all the time.
I'm glad actually that we're back together alone, because I always like it better like this. So should we just not bother doing this anymore? I mean, we didn't really want to do it anyway, right?
Yeah, fuck it. It's just, I don't know. We could just find a stronghold of our own, maybe. And I don't know. It's just hard with the food and stuff. And I don't know, but
We could try to take it again. I mean, we got caught that one time and it got really bad, but I'm sure that we could move through and take what we need. They wouldn't necessarily see us, find out where they are.
yeah. We live on our own, but we just kind of move around. I like that. I don't think there's any point in staying one place. Every time we stay somewhere for a while, the places just get broken into with the Romeros, and like, what's the point of building all that stuff? It's stupid.
A voice breaks the quiet of the street. Who are you talking to? Your sister kind of quietly turns around, looks back to you.
Myself. Who are you?
We're not talking to you. You can keep moving. I apologize. I lost my glasses about a year ago, and it's a minor miracle that I've survived this long. You see a man standing down the street, and he's holding on to a walking stick. He seems like he's fairly thin, probably hasn't eaten well, but he doesn't seem dangerous. I mean, just from looking at him in this moment. Older man, dark hair. He's uh, looking towards you curiously, dark eyes. My name is David. I was wondering if I could share your fire for just a while. I don't have any intention to harm you.
What? No, get out of here. What the hell? No, get out of here, buddy. Let's go make your own fire. Dingus, I'm trying to make a fire.
I just you're out here alone, and I thought that maybe you could use some help.
You're out here alone.
It's true. I'm actually headed back. We have a small group, and we're gathering some food, and we're hoping to be able to survive the winter. It's coming pretty quick. You don't see many people out now, and I just didn't want to walk by and not try to see if you needed help. It's still I think the right thing to do to try to help people.
You have food?
Yeah, my group and I, we do have food. Yeah, if there's a few of us, it's a safe place. I'm sure that they would like to have you join us. How old are you? Can't be older than 15. You're just out here?
You're just out here. You're. I mean, well, I guess if you have food, we could.
I want to know. Yeah, I want to know why you think we're gonna follow you back right now. Like, you think we're just gonna follow you just because you came up and you said that you were nice? We don't need your help. My sister and I are fine. I used to help people who were lost, and the man kind of steps into the light, and he kind of holds his hands up. You can stay as far away as you like. We could just, if you want, I can take you back, and we can get you some food, and then you can leave. Or if you're here in the morning, I could bring food back. Would that be better? Why don't you fuck off? We don't want your help. My sister and I already told you that. Juniper, I don't like this. Do you like this? Do you think that this guy's not gonna, like...
Well, we could go. We're talking about joining a group. Wink.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we could go with him. I think we could go with him, yeah. We could do that.
Just be ready to go. Whenever. All right, old man. What's your name?
David. And, I'm 47. I don't really call myself old. My eyesight's not what it used to... All right. How old are you? I thought that was rude, right? We didn't talk about these things. What's your name?
I have no idea what you're talking about. My name's Branch.
And I'm Bird, and this is Branch, and you better not try anything, because my sister and I will stab you.
Yeah.
You're Branch.
Uh-huh.
All right, Branch. Come along, and you can stay as far through, you know. We're not gonna make good time, I'm afraid, but we'll get there pretty quick. If you and yeah, I think I can help you. June, David takes you back to a small house that's full of survivors. There are perhaps 15 individuals that have banded together and have made this house on the outskirts of an old town fairly livable. You feel like they actually do have fairly decent security. They have tied a number of tin cans and other items all the way around the perimeter of this building and have formed a fairly active watch group. There are people who sit out on the roof but wave pleasantly as you approach. David waves back, and you and your sister and David walk their way up and onto the stairs and through the doors. David greets an older woman who has dark skin and really bright eyes. She smiles at all of you, and you enter in, and you're immediately fed. They give you the opportunity to clean yourself up. They provide you with some clothing if you want. They allow you to pick through their small storehouse and take anything that you want. They don't ask anything in return. And at night, they all get together and carefully pray together. None of them ask you or pressure you into doing the same. And you can tell that the people around here all have different types of religions, and that they have agreed that they would pray as a collective here in this house. David has produced a yarmulke and wears it on his head. The other woman, who you know as now Clarice, provides a small golden cross that she wears around her neck. Others have nothing, but they either sit and quietly think or say words to one another of comfort. You've never seen anything like it before. At night, you are offered a room for you and your sister. It is a soft bed in a small room with others that are also around your age, and everyone sleeps soundly. David tells you that he used to try his hardest to help people who were lost, and he and Clarice both offer you something to help you, along with a cup of water. David provides you with a small bottle that has within it tiny white pills. He tells you that they will help you to see more clearly. Do you take them?
I cheek some. I don't swallow them.
Okay. He doesn't force it upon you. He simply tells you that he thinks that they will help and that they would not do you any harm. At night, you and your sister whisper to each other. There are others in this place that are sleeping. They don't hear you. So
What are these weird pills? What the heck?
We've never taken pills before, and he didn't give any to me, so he thinks that you're sick. Are you sick?
I feel great, so no. I feel like this is, I don't know, this is weird. I don't know what this is for, or better than what? How's it supposed to make me better?
I don't know. You shouldn't take them. I don't.
Nah, I show her in my hand. I put it in my cheek, and then I spit it back out later when he wasn't looking.
Are we going to steal things now? Should we just take everything and go? We should just take it all. They showed us where their safe house was. We just take it and we go.
I mean, we could last a long time and all this stuff.
They don't care about us. They're weird and they talk to themselves.
Yeah. What was that whole bit before dinner? It was weird. I just find, like, do you ever notice when we hang out with other people, especially older people, they say a lot of stuff. I just don't understand anything they're saying.
I know what he's trying to do, and I'm not going to let him do it. So we're going to take our stuff and we're going to go. Okay, Juniper? Let's just go to sleep and we'll deal with it in the morning. I just
Yeah.
don't. David's a liar. These are poison.
All the adults seem like they're liars this whole time, every time we run into anybody.
Eventually, you and your sister whisper to each other and wander off to sleep. You're woken by the screams. It is loud, and you start up in bed. Olive is not there. You hear footsteps charging through the hallway and shouts. What have you done? A door flies open. Clarice is standing there, tears pouring down her face. Others within the room are now awake, and everyone is looking at you.
What happened?
Clarice slowly moves back. There is a smear of blood on the bed next to you.
Where is my sister?
Shaking, Clarice holds a gun out and points it at you.
I want to run straight at her to try to like dive under her legs and get through.
All right. Let's have you make a jump leap as you fly off the bed, trying to push past her. I will only give you 1 degree of difficulty.
Okay.
And you have competency that you can spend here as well.
What the heck?
That is 5 degrees of
so
failure,
many.
Juniper. How would you like to deal with this? You have 4 competency points. Either way, you are not going to easily escape the situation.
I want to use all 4 of them to just do 1 degree of failure.
You jump forward, and Clarice very quickly grabs you by the shoulder and throws you back. You slide down the hallway away from her, and she, just shaking, holds the gun in front of her. The doorway across the hall is open. The window in the other room is open. And you see a bed, and David is on it. At this point, Markia, if you would like, you may mute your audio. You see the body of David lying upright, facing the ceiling, staring. From his eye socket, a pair of scissors jut outward, and there is blood smeared across the room. You do not see Olive anywhere.
Well, if she did this, then he must have deserved it. I leave. I start to look for Olive.
You immediately rush out of the room. You make your way down the steps and out. You don't see Olive there. As you run into the streets, you're not sure where she is. You turn and you see her, motioning you forward, a pack upon her back. All of the things that were in that storehouse are tumbling out as she charges down the street. Do you follow?
Yeah.
She is covered in blood. Her hands are soaked in it.
Olive, what? Why didn't we wait till the morning?
I didn't want you to have to see. I was protecting you from him. He was going to make you take that poison, and I wasn't going to let him. I love you.
I love you too. Just, man, they were so surprised.
Yeah, fuck him. Let's go. And your sister runs down the street.
Yeah, let's go.
You have acquired a great deal of food, some medical supplies, candles, and other things that you can trade or use to your advantage. You and your sister, blood-streaked, run into the night and into the darkness. Achira, you're staring at a newspaper. It says, "The White House burns." And the image on it is the seat of power in the United States in flames. Yesterday, you saw your brother for the last time. You identified his body. You gave them the information that they needed. You signed the papers. And you made a vow. Achira, what vow did you make?
Achira vowed to kill the bitch, also known as her brother's girlfriend.
Your brother...
Surya Kopo.
Surya. Your brother is gone. And services are going to be in 3 days. There is much to do. But there is something else happening in the world. You're staring at this newspaper. You see, it seems to be falling apart. You've heard the news broadcasts. Martial law. The streets are being patrolled by the military. Helicopters are overhead. There are lights in the sky as looting and fires have broken out. The sound of sirens is constant. You hear gunfire. But more importantly, there are the reports. The things that people don't want to believe. The dead do not lie. The dead find new life. It is a part of this sickness. They say that they are still alive, but that there is some portion of their brainstem that is activated, that causes them to act like animalistic maniacs, attacking anyone who approaches them. And that, like a feral bite from a rabid dog, any who are struck by those that are roaming now quickly fall to the infection and die, only to rise again. And it's not just here, it's everywhere. The world is on the brink of utter chaos. Your world has been shattered, and you're standing on a street corner, Achira, with a newspaper in your hand. In your heart burns that vow. What do you want to do?
I want to visit her. I need to look into her face. Right now, while the world crumbles around everyone, while the dead arise, I need to look into her face, and I need the truth. The one she wouldn't give to my brother, but the one that she will give to me.
How do you get there? There are no easy routes. The streets are clogged, but you do know this area well.
Achira's gotten pretty good about hiding in the shadows. It's been a lot of lessons that she's learned in tough ways of when to move, when to not, where to go, when to not go. But it's almost like she, even before it happened with her brother, even before then, it was almost like she was preparing for this. Like somehow she knew that there'd be a time where she'd need to be completely invisible. That there'd be a time when there was a reckoning that had to be had.
Make a stealth check for me. There are no degrees of difficulty. You quickly, carefully, easily move through the night and step into the shadows. There are fires that are started, gunshots. You see cars plowing into each other on the street, and you hear sirens in the far distance.
Knox?
Yes.
Would you say this is a location hazard?
It is a location hazard. You are moving through the middle of a riot. There are SWAT officers that are pushing their way through with clear shields, holding batons, and tear gas is blasting through the streets, and you are carefully, quietly, easily moving through it. And Achira, you find something in yourself in this moment as all of this chaos breaks out, and you see looters running through, holding arms full of electronics, and you see policemen firing upon innocent people that are simply trying to leave the city, trying to get away. They're station wagons burdened with everything that they own, all of their worldly possessions stacked on top of their cars as they clog every street and highway around you. You find something within yourself, Achira. Certainty. And as guilty as it makes you, you realize that you were made for this. That in the middle of all of this, you were at your best. Able to get shit done. And you slip through the streets, and you make your way to the apartment complex. You're still very young. Your brother was older. This is where they shared their first apartment. She never moved out. From everything that you heard, she would bring her other playdates here, right under his nose, while he was at work. He worked so hard to be able to afford this place. It was everything to him, just as she was. And it pissed you off. It's not that he forgot about you, but he certainly was blinded by his love for her. As another brownout washes across the streets, everything goes completely dark for a moment and then batters slowly on. There's a few emergency lights that kick on in the corridors, and you see some red lights inside. And from that vantage point that you have, you know that you can see right into their front room. And you see a silhouette pacing back and forth. Okay. Welcome once again. We are at the very end of our tale, but we are not finished quite yet. Additionally, we do have a winner for our giveaway, and we will announce that winner before we go. So please stay with us. Achira, you're standing and you're watching this figure through the glass of that third-story apartment building, and you see a female form pacing back and forth in the darkness. You can see a candlelight, and you see her face for a brief moment as she looks out the window. She doesn't seem to see you. What would you like to do?
Achira's gonna go through the back way because she has keys to their apartment. Of course she does. And she knows that the back door is never locked.
You unlock the gate, and then you work your way up to their back door, and you are right. It opens easily into their kitchen. It's a wreck, a mess. It smells of rotten food, and there are empty handles of vodka sitting all around, toppled across the space in front of you. It smells sour, stale. There's cigarette stench coming from the living room, and something smells like it's slightly burning. Hello? Is someone there? Who's there? And you hear a stumble as someone very drunk pushes their way down the hallway towards you.
It's all right. It's just me.
Oh God, you scared me, Achira. Thank you. Thank you for coming. I am so upset right now. I don't know what to say. He's gone.
Yeah.
She stands there, a wreck. You can see she's been drinking a lot. She barely can stand up. She's leaning on the wall. And then there's, I don't know, it's been happening now for weeks, but now it's a mess. And I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. About that. Because your family, we've actually come up with a plan, and I'm here to take you to a safe spot.
Thank you. I knew you would. You were always so kind, and I know that I did bad things, but I loved him, and I love you too. We are family. And she grabs you and hugs you, and just the stench of old vomit kind of washes across you as she pulls you into a sloppy hug.
There was a lot to love about him, about everyone, because and Achira shoves her off and just
Yeah.
like
Oh,
puts her hands like on her shoulder length, and just like does a tight smile.
she like grabs onto your hands and is trying to be loving, but is nearly falling on herself.
You have your go bag that Blaine always made sure that everyone would have.
He always told me I had to have that ready, and I thought he was a damn fool, but here we are, and he was right again. I'm the idiot. She stumbles into the hallway and like puts a really fancy coat on, one that was far above what any of you could really afford at that time. But Blaine had bought it for Christmas last year, and she has it, and she pulls it on, and she grabs this rolling suitcase and comes out. All right, let's what's the plan? Where do we from here? Where do we go?
Your go bag is a rolling suitcase. You
I
know what?
just
It
I
doesn't
have a
matter.
lot. I have a lot.
It's it's fine. Um, it's not far. So just come with me, sis, and I'll get you to where you don't have to worry about anything about this ever again.
My mother is really sick. She just came down with that thing that they were talking about on the news. I should probably call her before I go and let her know you
You
and
can
I
call
are.
her afterwards. Do it afterwards. Let's get you safe, and then we'll we'll connect with family afterwards.
Okay,
But really,
yeah.
we gotta go. Like
Okay,
right now.
we'll go.
It's
We'll go.
important.
Hold on. Should we take something to drink or
N- Sure, take a bottle with you. Why not?
okay, yeah, we'll have a drink together. We deserve it. And she grabs this half gallon of vodka and is walking alongside you with a rolling suitcase, an expensive coat, and something to drink along the way. She stumbles down the stairs and nearly kills herself there, but she does manage to make it. What do you do?
So, yeah. You know, I tried to tell my brother about you, and he didn't believe me. You were really good about making sure he didn't believe me.
I
That's
was
good
really
on you,
mad.
right?
Yeah, I was mad at you, but I'm not now because things matter now. And it was just, you know, I just, I have a lot of things happening in my life, and I don't, Blaine didn't take care of me. He didn't do it for me anymore. I tried, but it just wasn't working. I mean, I loved your brother. I did, but
Why
he
didn't you
was,
let him go then? Why didn't you let him?
and what, live on the street? She says that, and then this look kind of comes across her, and then she looks down, and she really is drunk because she's at the point where she's being very truthful. I shouldn't have said that. Your brother was good. You're right, you know.
You know, me and him, we grew up in foster care with each other. We were all that each other had. And
Yeah.
then there was you. And you were supposed to be an extension of family. Like the family you choose. You were chosen by both of us. Do you realize that? By both of us?
Yeah, I do. I think you're great. You're like a sister to me. Are we gonna go now?
Yeah, no, it's just this way. Because, you know, I have to honor my brother's memory. And I need for our I need for our foster parents. I call them that. He called them our parents. I need for them and our family and friends to know that everything's on the up and up. So it's just this way.
Okay. Yeah. Let's go. Did you want some of this? And she like pulls back on the handle and takes a very heavy swig out of it.
Yeah, why don't you just hand that over to me for a bit?
She hands it to you, nearly dropping it on the concrete.
Here, just like move ahead. It's just right this way. Right, I'll watch your back.
Where are you leading her?
I'm leading her into a section and alleyway of town where I know that there have been people, there have been reports, and I've actually scouted it out of people that have risen from the dead and are in these sections.
It's near the hospital. This part of town is not too far from where your brother lived, the apartment complex. The alley's in front of you, and the sirens are quiet here. You walk through a number of barriers. There were people with automatic rifles that if they had found you, you might have been in a great deal of danger. But somehow you managed to slip by all of that with this loud, drunken woman trailing after you. Really, barely a woman. She, in this moment, looks like an inebriated child who's dressed in her mother's clothing. She spins back and hugs you once more as you bring her to the foot of this alleyway. What do you do?
Why was it never enough for you? Why? Why was it never enough that you just kept taking and taking, and he only had so much to give? Why?
I don't know what you mean. I just got what he gave me. I didn't hurt him the way that I mean, I hurt him, and I guess wish I I guess I wish I hadn't, but he wanted it. He wanted it, and I gave it to him, and he's a doormat. And you're either being walked on or you're doing the walking. So you tell me, sister, why did I do it? Because I was tired of being walked on and I had to walk, otherwise, I was going to be trampled. So, and as she talks, you see the figures in the back of the alley start moving closer. They shamble and shuffle forward in hospital gowns, 12 of them at least, clogging the interior, one of them dragging behind them what is clearly a dead dog that has been eviscerated and ripped apart. There is blood smeared across all of their faces, and they look hungry and angry as they start moving forward.
Surya, careful. Back up a bit from me. There's something dripping and it'll get on your nice coat.
Oh, the coat, because this is all I've got now to remind me of your brother. You know, I didn't want him to do that to himself. That was on him. It's not my fault. And she stumbles back and she's
Achira
grabbed.
pops the top off of the handle,
Mm-hmm.
stuffs a cloth in it, and lights the end.
The hand that grabs her from behind pulls her, and she looks back just as you do this. And then she looks back at you and pulls away, the coat slipping off of her. The walking corpse is standing there holding this expensive coat. Slowly, they begin moving closer to the two of you. She rushes forward towards you.
Achira
What the fuck is that?
smashes the lit alcohol like in between the two of them in the alleyway.
She then pushes back. Flames burn and you hear screams.
When
She
you
doesn't.
see him beg for his forgiveness.
She doesn't stop screaming as she's carried back into the alleyway. And as the flames begin to descend, you are standing there and you hear gunfire close behind you. Flashlights begin roaming across this area of the parking lot near where you're standing, and you hear voices. You there! Stop! You're not supposed to be here! Move back!
She runs.
You turn and run, but before you do, the flames have died down far enough that you can see the remains of the dog sitting there. The bloody coat. And the look on her face as they pull her apart. That is where we are going to end our tale tonight. We do have a winner. If you look into our chat, JB, are you able to tell me who the winner is of our giveaway? Jules Does Stuff 15, congratulations. You are the winner of our digital bundle for Outbreak Undead. We hope that you find comfort in these supplies. This may aid you in the future as you move forward. And before we leave tonight, I would like to remind you that on Friday, we have a very special Hunters Gathering, hosted by our very own Markia McCarty. Please join us. We will be back here next Tuesday, and we will continue our tale. Thank you, and good night.